In this recording with the journalist Cindy Franks, Toteras declares that people are scared to speak their minds while exploring his logic of irrationality and his critiques of feminism.
You know what I'm thinking though? Listen to this. You know, like we've gone through a whole period of what you call it, how to do it books, right? Mm-hmm. But they had no content in it as to how to make a chair, then they went into the psychological ones, how to stay married or how to find a wife, all that, you know, like. But they somehow or other, it was missed doing literature in that style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can't do literature the way Shakespeare did literature. You can't do literature the way Faulkner did, because they're different periods. You know, the period that Faulkner lived in, if you took the people that were in Faulkner's time and you let them watch a TV now, you know, if you could make that transport like that, a TV ad, they couldn't tell you what they were looking at. Like the TV ads 20, 25 years ago, they were very linear. A, B, C, D, Mrs. Olsen and the coffee pot and all that.
Right, they put it together for you.
A, B, C, D, E.
Yeah,
now, that's right, exactly, man. You know, like the Pepsi and the Dr. Pepper and the what have you not, they just spark, they hit. You know why? Because the attention of modern person today is, you could hold his attention for maybe 4 to 6 seconds.
Yeah, right. Then he's gone.
No, that's gone. That's true. That's as far as you can hold it. You can't hold it any further than that. Yeah, that is not what that could be worked out. That type of literature, and it requires a different view to bring things together. Like our view has always been traditionally, find the fault, find the hole and fill it, find the fault and correct it, searching always for the fault. Fuck, man, some things don't have no fault.
Right.
Now, you've been with people that, man, they were the nicest people in the world. You just didn't want to be with them. There was no reason. You could make up a million reasons why, but there was just something, the timing, the odor, some goddamn thing. Yeah. It's the same thing. Things get together by chance, you know.
Well, how do you get over the compulsion to find the fault?
That's really, look, that is a viewpoint. It's not really just a compulsion. It's just not a mania. It's a viewpoint. It's a viewpoint that we've been taught. You know, like Lao Tse said, man, you do everything by doing nothing.
Everyone feels that you have to find.
Yes, but the new way that's coming, the new view that's coming is do nothing and it'll all get done. People got to stop doing, man. They're doing too much. They're coming unglued. They're all in a separate fragment. Yeah. This lady introduced herself. She said, I was at this thing. And she said, I am a mother. I am a doctor. And she went through maybe 10, 15 proper nouns, right? And then I was learning. I said, Jesus, you know, she has to develop an attitude and personality for every one of these people. Like, she can't view her child the way she views a patient dispassionately, so she could cut them, you know, what have you not. She has to view her child now as passionately, right? She has to listen to her child talk, not with her ear, but with her soul. I mean, you don't listen to the child with your ears, because if you listen to it with your ears, you say, don't say ain't, say this, you know? Right? When you listen to somebody with your ear, you correct them. But if you feel what he's saying, that's why if we're talking right now and you try to make a transcription of what we're talking, it don't make sense. Yeah. It don't make sense when it's on paper, because the logic of paper is altogether different than the logic of speech. I see. I could be I could hinge on irrationality right now, right? But because we're all feeling that irrationality, we assume that attitude, that position. We assume almost a position of irrationality. Now, what's happening in modern times is things don't make sense anymore the way they used to make sense. So we start saying they're no good.
Well, because they don't make sense.
Because they don't make sense. We start saying they're no good. I mean, modern men are running around trying to find something that belonged in a Homeric age. You know, they're trying to find the hero inside of them, the hero inside of them. You know who makes the greatest heroes? The biggest cowards. They just ran the wrong way. That's right. Instead of running that way, they ran that way. And by accident, from fear and panic, they just started doing, or jumping in cold water and grabbing this kid. You know, it's impulse, man. You can't train yourself to be a hero. You know, the moment makes the hero, isn't that right? The moment makes love. Sure. That's what Cyrano said, for Christ's sake. They said you could have been all kinds of things, they said, Cyrano. And he says you chose to be nothing. And he said, yeah, he said, but I would have lost the moment. That's the height of romanticism. The height of the moment. But you see, then start getting old and you say, oh, all them beautiful moments, but my pockets are empty. You know, I have nowhere to go, I have nowhere to sleep. Right. I don't even have anybody to tell about the beautiful moments I had when I was young. You know, all that. And then all of a sudden we become scared and we say, we fucking failed. That's not true. In a society that evaluates between success and failure, you got to be very careful that you don't do something and fail. Yeah. You don't tell somebody, go to hell, because he'll fire you.
Yeah, right.
He'll fire you, and he'll put it on your record. It's not that he just fire you. He put it on the record, and let's say you've been working for him for 5 or 6 years, and you go then to the next employer, and he said, well, you've been in the last 5 or 6 years. You've been in jail? Where the hell have you been? Where's your resume? So you put down that guy there, and he looks in his files where he said that he was a son of a bitch. He was something, you know, and he had it over there. And then the guy asked him, he said, can you tell me about this person? And he said, yes, he's a son of a bitch. It's in his record. And you're not going to work, you know, you're going to starve. Because you depend on that. Yeah. And once you become dependent on that, you finish, man. You gotta mold everything with the way he favors it. So you have generation after generation of people going on, because you know people are more scared today. You know how you can see that? People are more scared today to tell you what's on their mind than they were before. Because being more on your mind now, if you told people what's on your mind, they'd get rid of you right now. They have broken the idea down into its elements now, and they don't realize it. They don't realize that they have broken the idea. In a rush for fragmentation, everything was fragmented. Every fucking thing was fragmented, man. You go to learn literature, and they instead of telling you, take the book and go find a beautiful garden somewhere. Get stoned. Fucking read it and see if you feel it. See if you can experience this thing that this man experienced and is trying to translate to you, trying to transmit it to you. They look at it like it was a fucking design that had been laid out for construction. Yeah. Right. That this is the style that was used. This is what this was. This is it. This was. They give you a whole position of how things are and aren't and ways to compare. And they say that's English literature. That's right. You studied English literature. Don't they ruin the fucking subject?
Yeah.
Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, well, yeah. They
fucking ruin the subject. You want to go home and read it and cry and maybe wet the bed. You know, yeah. From some form of excitement that's inside of you, and they've taken that away from you. Why? So the subject can be taught.
Yeah, there's always a right way to analyze it too. Like you've always reached the right conclusion about each piece of writing, which I never necessarily agree with. You know, because I always had a differing opinion of what they had, and I just thought my way was perfectly fine. So why did theirs have to be right and mine not?
Exactly.
Right?
That's right. Yeah. That's right, because they set, you see, a standard. And that standard has to be viewed and examined. Like this country.
But they don't just ask the editors either, the people who wrote the book, you know, like really what they meant. It's all other people talking about the book and what they think it means. But never in there is just what the editor, you know, the person who wrote it actually meant. You know, that was
starting to
critical.
Nicer smell.
Huh?
Starting to smell the apples.
Yeah.
Oh, it smells good, man.
Yeah.
Is it making you hungry?
Yes. Oh.
Is it making you hungry? Are you getting hungry? By the time we finish it up, we will have examined. This is good stuff. This is excellent. The worst fucking writers in the world come out of this country. They're insipid, they're fucking ones, man. They really are. They're insipid, man. They have nothing at all to them. Depth. They see man two-dimensionally. There's no third dimension to man here anymore. Why? Because of the thoughts of practicality. Man really in a practical society can't afford to have a soul. Costs money. You take a look at all the estimating books, which is the real psychology, you know, estimating books. How do you estimate projects? In the system, the critical path methods they use and stuff like that. And in it, man, there's all these caveats. And them caveats say, man, do not hire creative people. That's right. Wow. Creative people cost you money, you know. To a creative mind, nothing is ever right. You know, the creative mind never finishes anything, you know.
Right,
to finish something, he cries when somebody tells him to stop. They say, you do it in 5 pages. And he says, I need 30. And then when after 30, they say, I need 100 more. I haven't gotten my point across.
So do you want to talk about the men's club today? A little bit?
The men's club.
The men's club.
He's the one about the men's club.
Yeah, we were talking about it all the way up.
Mm-hmm.
Out through the woods and such.
Trying to get an idea of things, your themes that you're going to be discussing, and so forth.
Okay.
I gave you a sheet with the
Yeah.
with some of the themes we're going to be moving on.
It goes along with what I was saying there about it's time now that, okay, say I'm crazy. So everything I say from now on will be the logic of irrationality. Okay?
If you would like.
Yeah, now that's the point that I've been working on all my life. I've been working on the logic of irrationality, not the logic of rationality. Because so if you want, I'll give you a background on that as to how I came upon this. All right?
Yeah, and the absurdity.
Yeah, because to say these terms is absolutely meaningless. It's like talking about music as opposed to playing music.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So what I want to do is if you would permit me.
Absolutely.
To go on. Yeah, go on and not and just go on with me through all these things that through the years popped up into my head and made me, right, with an identifiable style. And the style is if one was to say absurdity, you're not really saying anything, because absurdity is, one thinks of absurdity as purely slapstick. One thinks of absurdity as being in mathematical incongruent terms. One thinks of absurdity as cacophonic music. One thinks of absurdity in a dismantled state. Or one thinks of absurdity in forms of contradiction. Now, all of this is right and wrong, because beginning with the development of rationality also developed, along with rationality, methodologies of defending it. So when Plato developed rationality as an argument, he also developed alongside with it the defenses of it. So now it's not only a view that looks out forward, but it's a view that's encapsulated, brought together, and now wants to stay and study it analytically, wants to look continuously within it, and constantly look within it. His student now sets up another program with it, which is categorical. So now all the things that you do find in it, you can take and put it in the proper file, in the proper shelf, under some kind of proper name, so you can retrieve it again. Now, without this, you can't have the period of rationality. So what you have is analytics have developed, categories have developed, which is a very convenient thing for man, because that's how man naturally thinks. Man, not woman.
Not woman.
Man. He thinks that. When that came, of course, rationality excluded women totally, because it required analytics and it required categories. Well, a woman, as we've known it in the past, but we've become very aware of it now. A woman has a different way of seeing the world. She nurtures, she holds, she gives birth, she is in contact with the child from almost the moment of its inception. All these things a woman has, and a woman has synthesis. She follows the synthetic part of thought, where man follows the analytical.
Right.
The synthetic out here, making, keeping, holding together. Holding together, the logos. The holding together in the American language doesn't have the same implications that it has in classical language or in Greek. The word holding together is the word logos. Logos. It means to hold together. It also means the word, but a word holds the thought together. Don't it? I mean, and the guy says, well, that's $100 word. Yeah, because it's holding together 1,000 little fragments. You know what I mean? Right? Like, you use a great big 50-cent word, and, you go to analyze it, and somebody says, well, what does that mean? For the life of you, you can't explain it without going through, a volume of books, man. Because some words are so vast, you only have a feeling of what they mean. Like if a person was to use the word metaphysics, you only have a feeling for metaphysics. You're never in contact with metaphysics through the head, through reason, through rationality, because rationality excludes it.
Right.
It absolutely says it doesn't. It might exist. It might exist, but we can't deal with it because we can't argue it.
Right, exactly.
We can't argue it. So we have now systems that are living side by side and can't never meet each other. They can't get together with each other. Okay, we know that. We know now from psychological examinations that men think analytically and they think categorically. And we know that women think intuitively. They think more passionately. Their thoughts are more in harmony with their... See, a woman is very aware, of her physical body. She has her period every month. She knows that the whole thing, happens. And this is very important in pre-classical times with the cults. And the word mysticism and the mysterious comes from women's cults in ancient Greece. Yeah, because, the rhythm, the 28-day cycle, the changing of hormones, the different views. You can't change your hormones and not have different views. It's going to affect your disposition to your family, to your brother, to your lover, to your diet, to everything. It has to change its disposition. You feel a woman feels a weakness. Then she feels something else. Something physical is taking place in her. She's ovulating. She's preparing for that greatest of mysteries of birth. And all the fucking man doesn't, he never feels that. He's not in contact. The man has separated mind from body. Descartes did very eloquently, didn't he? But man has. He could. The woman can't separate mind from body. It's all one to her. She makes bodies. She produces bodies. Her mind and her body are connected together. Every goddamn 28 days she goes through some cycle. She goes through a lunar cycle. She's connected to the tides, to the moon, to the fucking heavens. What the fuck's a man connected to? His dick? You know what I'm saying? And not only, man will never understand woman's reasonings, her logic or what have you not, nor will the woman ever understand. But the thing is this, we have to understand that we're different. And in the difference, things come together because of that difference. If they were the same, nothing would happen. They wouldn't be right now, the billions of people on this earth. If something didn't take place, I mean, buildings were built, civilizations made, and man didn't do it by himself. The thing, okay, that part there, see, without elaborating too long, you can see how philosophy, poetry, philosophy, mankind, man, woman, and all that, they all go together. They're separated at the universities. But they all go together. Yeah. They're all part of the same package, man. You go to a university and they say anthropology, sociology, philosophy, this and that. And then at the end of your studies, you say, how does it all fit? You look up there to see how it fits. It doesn't fit up there. It fits here. It fits with us. It fits with this. And the points that I look at, the points that I raise is not... really not the philosophical, to me what's important is the different faces of honest men. And, because I was a painter, right? And I tried really to paint an honest face. I really did. I worked on it. And worked on it. And it just wouldn't come out. And I studied the Renaissance painters to looking for the honest face. I studied the Sienese, I studied the Byzantine icons, I studied a lot of things looking for the honest faith. And the face of the Byzantine was a surrealistic, elevated look. The morphe, the morphology of it was, and the Sienese painters took that, and they had this holiness. And El Greco he goes to the crazy house and he paints faces in the crazy house. The look of the devout, the look of the devout today is the look of a mongoloid. The look of the devout today, exactly. The mongoloids have that look. The man of, the eye with faith, the faith that madness brings.
True, though, yeah.
The faith that madness, and the faces in the resurrection of Christ in Toledo, all these faces of saints and what have you, they're all people out of nut houses, right? So in that period of time, the face of the devout was the face of an honest man. But during the Renaissance period, people paid to have the painters paint their faces, right? And then they would paint them also with recognized symbols of John the Baptist. And they would, Christ. Now, Christ became a visual cliche. First, a mother holding it, which is a lot of the iconography of the Byzantine art, holding the child. So right away, you'd recognize it was the child and the mother, the Virgin. And Raphael used prostitutes because he saw it. He saw in their face an innocence. He did. He saw an innocence in the face of prostitutes. Because really, the prostitute is innocent of love.
Yeah.
She knows nothing of love. Wow. She knows of prostitution, but she doesn't know. Like in Greek, in classical Greek, the word for prostitution, porno, pornography. It means something that can't be delivered. It means giving the body without love, It means that something has been left out, something essential has been left out. So you could have, your activities could be porno, Your activities could be
without
that way.
essence.
Yeah, pornostathis, a person that has, you talk but without no feeling, you're soulless, Well, you have this in the language, but when you have a place that's as new as this, that doesn't have that in the language, they argue whether abortion should be, they argue about should they pray in school. It doesn't come from their ethos, it doesn't come from the roots of their culture, it comes now from something else, It comes from something else. It comes from laws without anything behind it, without any ethos behind it.
And these new modern relationships that are springing up.
Yeah, they're springing up legally, as opposed to ethically.
Yeah.
Then what they've gotten you to believe is that the word ethics and the word morals are the same. They are the same if the word more is used, Latin word more. Yes, ma'am.
Food. It's on
Oh,
the table.
the cake. The cake, you pull it out of the oven.
Okay, I'll get it out.
Yeah, okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Mores, you see, is the Latin term, more, right? And mores is the glue that keeps a society together.
Yeah.
Well, the glue, the laws, the unwritten laws come from the mores. The norms give you the written laws. Okay, the normative gives you the written laws. So you have now a society that its mores are in the normatives. Our mores are in the normatives. That means that in the normative we try to create mores. Now, if we use the word more, fine. If we use the word moral, we're talking about what? We're talking about
something from God.
The Ten Commandments, right? Because that's what we have by implication through the last 1,800 years or so have taken on that's what morality is. But now to the Jew, morality isn't the same kind of morality that the American has. The Jew is hospitable, man. He's a man of the desert. His hospitality is always there. Howard. I have a friend of mine I went to school with together. We've been friends since we were kids, He's a bank president down in Pasadena and all that. And he comes up for rest and recreation from the rough world, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And then we get some of a friend of ours, another rabbi, right? We get into some really beautiful discussions because I tell them out front, I said, look, man, true, you gave the Greek faith, but nevertheless, we gave you reason. It's true, right? They accept the argument. It's true. Plato devised the reasonable. You know what was interesting? Oh, it says here. Okay, like the Greek, the ancient Greek, the pre-Socratic Greek, tied to nature. The post-Socratic Greek tied to the world, his civilization. man and nature, man and society. Man and nature pre-Socratic, man and society post-Socratic. But now man and nature, the pre-Socratic Greek said, wait a minute, man and nature, what are you talking about, man and nature? What? So they finally arrived at a thought at that point of apparency, when it becomes apparent to man. Because in front of what's not apparent is what they call the apiron, the boundless, that thing can't be experienced. The poet stood at that point and looked at that, absorbed that, turned around and gave the word. That's the way it was up to the time of the sophists. The sophists said, no, man is the measure of all things. Man creates the apiron because of his unknowing toward it. But now it raised a problem. And the problem was, how can you demonstrate that the apiron is here, the boundless, and here is that point. Now that line where they stood is the word physics. That's what the word physics means. It just becomes apparent. It's becoming apparent to your eye this very millionth of a second. That's physico, physics, right? Physics. From then on in, the question was raised is, what then is apparent? What is it that is apparent? The first apparency that you see, the first manifestation that we call physics. Anaximander said, why? He said that which is due, right? Parmenides said the changeless is the characteristic of being. Heraclitus says the logos is the characteristic of being. That's how you know. Because in that, Heraclitus said everything is in chaos, in random change, in leaping about. So somebody asked, well, then how does things come to be? And he said, the logos, bringing together, holding together, make up that. Now they use that thought to discover the cells, the walls of a cell. Because the walls of a cell, through all that plasma, bring together somehow that disorder into a cell, right? And that's what brings it together and holds it together. So that was his characteristic of being. When it came time to Plato's time, the characteristic of being for Plato was the idea. Because the idea dealt with the form, which was boundless. It was in the apiron. It could never decay. Right? And then when you reduced it into the particular thing that was there. The atomists gave him another argument, and they said, things form in the vertical. As these molecular structures come down, they form themselves into the vertical, into the chair. It went along beautifully with Platonic thinking. But in order for Plato to demonstrate the idea, he had to develop 5 different arguments, man, in order to plant inside the idea. Because an idea comes from the word ethon, which actually means to see. Okay, ethon, it also means, after being seen, what is it? What kind is it? So ethon can mean kind, or it means to have been seen. Now, if it was that which was seen in its kind, what does kind have? It has, number one, it has typology, right? Typos. And it has morphology. It has schematics to it. It has in it, like, its form and its content. And also its view, like the morphology of an idea is how does it make itself apparent amongst all the other ideas? I mean, how do you know this idea is different from that idea? From its morphology, man. Like, ideas have morphologies to them. Only the person doesn't realize that an idea, it wasn't used for 1800 years, the argument of the idea, to the time of Descartes. For 1800 years they kept the word idea out because, it would have raised some awful implications in the Christian church.
How was that?
Well, the idea of God. You don't want to use the idea of God as an argument, would you?
Oh, you could never experience it.
Well, he would have to have a topology, a morphology, a schematics. He'd have to have a kind and a view. He'd have to be seen. And God is aoratic. He can't be seen.
Can't be seen.
Aoratic. Aoratic. He can't be seen.
Can't be seen.
Can't be seen. Because orasis, when you see something, you see a friend coming down the street or your sweetheart. You don't see her blonde hair. You don't see how tall she is. You don't see nothing. You see all of her, man.
Yeah.
You see more than the hair, more than the shoulders, more than the gait. You see something that just fucking, fucks you up, man. Right? That's the men's club. That's what men's club he's talking about. That. It's how man, you see, I find man is the troublemaker, not woman. I don't find woman as a troublemaker.
Yeah. What is the problem with man?
That's it. That's what I'm raising. The problem of man is it doesn't start now. It doesn't start now. It starts way back then. Because you have a big women's revolt that took place in classical Greece. You have a big women's revolt that took place in the Oppian laws that were...
in Rome.
Huh?
In Rome.
In Rome, yeah, right. The Oppian laws, they were... I mean, the woman could now legally have abortions. They could legally take their dowry back. They could legally stay away from home. They could legally do almost everything that the modern woman has been asking for. I mean, contemporary woman has been asking for, the Roman women got in the Oppian law. Why? Why did this happen? For the same reasons that it's happening now. The roles and positions of the male and woman changed because of loot, the development of upper classes, to the point where they really didn't need each other. They didn't really need each other, and it was going from... See, I come from a matriarchal society. I'm from an island, right? And all the men are out at sea. Most of them are out at sea. And the ones that stay behind are usually old men or shopkeepers, things like that. But the whole place, at Corfu, Greece.
Yeah.
You been there?
I've never been there, no. We were talking about it a little bit earlier.
Yeah, Corfu, and it's a matriarchal society, and the women absolutely run it. The women do all the punishing of the children. The women do everything. You've never seen such power, man.
Yeah.
You go to Crete, right? Hey, the exact opposite. Knife in the boot. Woman says something, the guy looks. The women don't eat at the same table. He's eating. Oh yeah, all the father and the males all sit at the table, and the girls and the mothers serve. And then after they eat, these things are changing now, but I mean that's the way it was traditionally, right? Cretan, why? Because the Cretans had been subjugated by the Turks for 3 or 4 centuries, and Turkish attitude, Arabic attitude, Islamic attitude toward women is different than, let's say, Greek attitude, classical attitude was toward women. The classical woman was really a liberated woman, liberated to the point that the societies came apart. You can't go beyond what the cohesion is. You can't. Once you do, it's going to come apart. I don't give a shit what you say. And what we're looking at is something worse than the destruction of the A-bomb. Because I tell you why. We are here living in New Athens. This is Athens. We're free up to now to come out with anything. Like I've never developed my arguments living in Greece, right? Never, man. I had to develop them here. I developed them in England. I stayed in England for a few years, and then here, because you couldn't develop them. You couldn't develop it here because there was no ears.
Right.
No ears. The people were going through a whole different trip, man. They really were, And we were, in them days, just on the fringes of things. And you take the beat poets and all that. They were mainline guys. They were mainline guys. They were people right on the main line. They, as far as the beats were concerned, these guys were fucked up. Then the society was getting fucked up. And really, it's not society that's fucked up. Society is doing the best it can to survive. I mean, I don't see why men aren't proud or hold in respect the modern virtues that they have. They have, you see, in school they don't allow you to raise the argument of virtues. You can't raise the argument of virtues because virtues don't exist in modern times. Isn't that right? When I was in England, they were going through that transition from the goons, and the goons had a show going on in London, and that's Peter Sellers and Fontaine and 7 or 8 other.
Marty Feldman?
Marty Feldman was one here, and they would just they lasted 3 or 4 years, and they would just do all kinds of things, and they had a radio program at night, all improv, you know. But it was in the absurd, right? It's not like the American does not have a concept of that.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't laugh at it. He doesn't find it funny. He doesn't. The American can't find it funny. He's got very serious kind of one-liners. You know what I mean? The kind that at the end you're supposed to laugh. It's the end of the
And
show.
you know where the end is, too.
Yeah, the end has a period to it. But these guys are just going on and on and on and on. And never stop. Well, that transition was going on, and some of these guys now got together and made up the Monty Python Flying Circus, right? And then that moved on and on. But you're talking about a society, the English society has been there a long time. You know, the Brecht's theater in Germany is way ahead of its time, but you're talking about a society that has metaphysics to it, you know. The Germans go back to the Roman times and even preach to them. So the whole language has metaphysics in it, it has mythology, it has all this. We don't have any here. The closest mythology we have is what? The cowboys of the West, right?
Jesse James.
That's all. The conmen, the schemers, we have nothing else. Jesse James, bank robbers, admiral killers. These are the virtues that we look at. Man can go out there with his 6-shooter and shoot somebody with it.
You were saying before dinner that the man does have virtues now.
He sure does.
They're just not the same as the
They're
classical.
not the same as the classical virtues. They're not the same virtues that came down. You know, the classical virtues came down with the addition of charity through the church. Modern virtue has not come from the church. It has come from developing modern society. From the activity it takes to develop modern society is where the virtues are at. And if you take a look at the virtues of Rockefeller, Ford, they have similar virtues. Their virtues are what? Their virtues are aggressiveness, self-reliance, aggressiveness, with all the subs, the A, B, C, D, F, G under that heading. And then you have to have leadership. You can't. The modern man has to have leadership. That's one of the virtues of modern man, to be able to lead men. Hayakoko, you know, he wrote a book. They made fortune on the book alone. How to be a leader, how to be a leader of men, how to be a leader in industry. So you know goddamn well that's a virtue. So you have aggressiveness and leadership, and above all, you got to be able to sell yourself, don't you? You need salesmanship. That's a modern virtue. You got to go out there, look to him in the eye, and sell yourself. And underneath all that comes all the things that are required for you to be a good salesman. How to put your foot in the door, how not to take no for an answer. All the deceptions now come in. How to tell that person he needs it when you know he doesn't need it. This friend of ours, Earl, he's a Mennonite, right? He's a doctor. And he was struggling through school. He needed a job, so he went out and got a job. He told me this. I couldn't stop laughing for a month. He said he went out to get a job selling knives, house utensils and all that. So he knocks at the door and the lady says, "Oh, come on in, have some lemonade. It's a hot day." And Earl, the longer he sat there, the more he realized she shouldn't have these knives, She couldn't afford them. So, he told her that he was a salesman and he was out to sell. He said, "But I wouldn't want to sell them to you because you don't really need them." So, he talked to sailor because he's not a salesman, right? He doesn't have nothing to sell. He's got something to share. He'll share things with you, man. He'll share everything he's got with you. Isn't that right?
Yeah, he'll share his whole life.
He'll share his fucking life with you, man. But he'll sell you nothing. He attends to everybody as a doctor. He has a clinic out there in Point Reyes he goes to once or twice a week and does free medicine. Sees 100 people. Never charges a nickel. You know what I mean? He's a person who shares, man. Who shares. But modern virtues don't allow you to share.
No.
Because salesmanship is there. Salesmanship is in that goddamn category of modern virtues. And damn well you have to have the bootlicker's temperament. You got to have a bootlicker's temperament. You got to be able to sit there and say, "Oh, yes, I agree with you," when you know goddamn well you don't. Like you know damn well what he's saying, that person is saying, just you won't buy that shit, one way or another, whatever it is.
But you have to.
You have to, boy. You got to. You got to, with great duplicity and betrayal, doing your friend. There's a book that was written by this woman, and it said what the things not to talk about in the office. The things not to talk about in the office. It said, don't ever talk about your financial affairs. Don't ever say that you had a bounced check. Don't never ever say that you had a ticket. He said, because it said when it comes time for promotions, all this will appear. He said, everything you say is being told to the boss about you. In conversation, in having a drink. You know what bosses do in these offices? Every now and then they'll take you out for a drink. I'd like to see you, Dad, after a while. You please come, we'll have a drink together. And of course, I'm your boss. You stand, well, what? And I start talking to you. How do you think Joe does over there, you know? Well, he's a hell of a nice guy, but you know, he gets a lot of tickets. And he's bounced a few checks. Yeah, well, you know, when it comes time for promotion, the boss don't want that asshole. You've already told him, you know. So they turn everybody in the office, into the complex, into finks. And you know you're faking. You know you're torpedoing that guy. You know that. The only thing is, you want the fucking job because it's a brand new car the company's going to give you and an extra $10,000 expensive car. You want that, man. Because your goddamn lady don't want you unless you can get that shit. Because she's part of it too. The woman, the modern woman, is right where the modern man is. These virtues are the same for her too, you know. They're not just men's virtues. They're the virtues, you know, compatible virtues. You got to have compatible understanding. They ever exist with each other. So she's taking on these virtues too. Aggressiveness, salesmanship, leadership, all these things. They're part of the modern time. They're not bad. They're just part of the modern scene. They're not bad. You can't never go to the other virtues. There was another time there. You know, courage, that kind of thing. Wisdom, you know, that. What are you talking about? This is modern times. But the thing is, we got to feel good about it. We got to feel good about what we have and try to get us back into something that you can't go back to. You can't go backwards. You can't go back to all these things that sounded good. They weren't no good either in their own time. They weren't. Like during the time of Plato, even you wanted to emulate always the Achilles, right? You wanted to emulate him because he was the proper person to emulate, a man of courage, a man of restraint, courage, honor. He had all these things, you know. You wanted to be like that. You wanted to have these things. You wanted people to see these things in you, and it was very important, man. Now, it's very important, you know, that you think of people wanting to trust you. But in modern times, what do we call trust? I mean, what? You put your money in the bank, you can't trust that. You can't trust a dollar bill. You definitely can't trust the guy at the job. We just know that because he's going to blow the whistle on you. Who the fuck can you trust? I mean, you trust your mother. You hope you trust your mother. You know, you hopefully can trust your father. But who's there to trust, man? You can't trust anybody outside of that. So the word trust now has been examined. You have to examine the word trust. Trust who and what? With what? Trust him with a secret? You're not going to trust him with your money. That's already been taken care of. It's in your bank account. If he tries to sell you something, you start wondering, oh, I wonder if I should buy it. But you can't trust anymore. You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to. They tell you, don't trust. Look, man, you can't take a little child anymore and hug him.
No, you're a pederast.
You can't hug the child. Don't you know that child needs to learn to trust adults? If you raise that child telling that child all the time, be careful, and anybody who says to run home, you're raising that child with total fear of other people. We haven't seen the repercussions of that, but you're going to see the repercussions in another 15, 20 years. We're going through this whole period now. Everybody has been abused. I can't believe it that many people have been abused now that can't remember being abused. This woman wrote a book.
They wrote it, they put it out in their memory and they couldn't remember it.
This woman wrote a book.
Somebody else informed them that this had occurred or what?
And she went to a hypnotist. A popular book.
Yeah.
Went to a hypnotist, and the hypnotist told her, your father made you.
Oh,
He said, your father, you under hypnosis, you revealed to me that your father had, and she accused her father of having sex with her. The father swore up and down he never did. with his daughter. And
Wow.
the hypnotist told me.
Jesus.
So I mean, you know, when the mind is now prone to see witches, to see boogaboos, you know, you're going to see them. You're going to see them in front of you. You can't avoid not seeing them. And now everybody with pederast, you go, I'm scared. I see a little kid. Do it. I'm scared of the kid. I was driving down here about 2 miles from here. There was a car in front of me. And in front of that car was a bicycle with a girl on it. And the guy in front of me stopped and let the girl keep going. The girl fell. The bicycle fell. I saw the whole thing. The mother ran out. She asked the girl, what happened? She says, I fell off my bike. She says, no, because I got out of the car too. She says, no. She says, that man hit you. If I hadn't have been there, that guy would have got accused of hitting that child.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
no.
Yeah. She kept telling him. Now, she was teaching that kid how to lie.
Yeah, right.
She was teaching that kid something worse. False accusation.
Ooh.
The Greek word for devil is diabolo. Classical word, diabolo. And it means really slanderer, accuser, a false accuser, right? By the etymology of the word itself. So she's teaching the kid diabolical things.
Right.
How to false accuse. Because why? At the end of it was that guy's insurance.
What's that lawsuit?
The lawsuit. Made everybody into fucking bullshitters, you know?
The lawsuit
To make bucks. You know, in Greece there's no such thing as negligent law. Tort law. In Europe you don't find tort law, only in
Is that right?
No.
Yeah.
Only in Anglo-Saxon countries do you find tort law, because they respect you. You're walking down the street, there was a big hole there in Athens. And the store owner was sitting there, the big hole there, and he had a rope around it. And I said, hey, what if somebody falls in it? He said, don't they have eyes? He said, don't they have eyes to see, you know? There's no negligent law there. There's no big suits taking place.
That's a much more
Yeah.
humane way to do it, though. It really, I mean, it
Well,
makes
they all
everybody
agree,
responsible
don't
for
they?
themselves.
Yeah,
They
you
all,
know.
they all agree
Exactly.
about what's going on.
No, negligence law is peculiar to Anglo-Saxon law.
That's amazing. It really is.
And I tell you, the standard of that is the reasonable man standard. The reasonable man in law absolutely can foresee anything that will take place.
Ooh.
So it means that if I could demonstrate that you could foresee something, you fucked up the reasonable man standards, and it's all causation. Like my act here caused that proximate cause, caused that act over there, right? Step down the line. Until pretty soon, the reasonable man does nothing.
Right.
Because it could be foreseen that you fuck up down the line. So he does nothing. He sits back and does shit, right? So everybody, by the definition, everybody in this country is breaking the law in order to
Be
to do-
aggressive.
be aggressive. You have to be aggressive. You have to break the law. Like these guys with the SNL said, hey, man, we didn't break any fucking law. They didn't. They didn't break no law. There was no law
There
that
weren't
says they
any
couldn't do
laws,
it.
exactly. There weren't any laws. So
There was no law that says they couldn't
what
do
about
what they
business
did.
as usual?
But ethically, they could have said, hey, man, you know, we're going to take a lot of people's money. A lot of people are going to hurt. There is no people because they don't have any image to them. They don't have people image to them.
They're just the mass.
It's a mass, exactly. It's the mass. It's the mass. It's a whole new concept now, a whole new philosophical concept of the mass. Like Bush felt very good about going over there and blowing away 200,000 people, most of them civilians. But they get excited because this guy ate up 17 people down in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
He ate up people in Milwaukee, right? He killed 17 people because he wanted to kill them. Because these people put themselves. It wasn't an impersonal killing. There was some connection.
That
Well,
was
Bush killed over 200,000 fucking people, man. He doesn't feel bad about it. Nobody's portraying him as a fucking an Ivan the Terrible of the First Order.
Yeah.
Huh?
It was done in the abstract, wasn't it?
It was done, exactly, it
It
was
was
the
done on
abstract.
TV, it wasn't done in real life.
It was done in, yeah, it wasn't done in real life, it was done in the abstract. Don't you see, the women aren't doing this shit. Hey, the fucking women aren't doing this. One of the great periods of Israeli history is when Golda Meir was there. You know what I mean? There was things were, you know, were pretty mellow things. You know, she was living with the Arab, you know. She was trying to make it like that, and all of a sudden you get these goddamn fucking men in there and they fuck everything up. Huh? They destroy everything, man. So listen, it's not getting men together and saying, hey, how we can retaliate and this and that. It's getting them together and fucking seeing what assholes they really are. Fucking genuine assholes, man. I tell you, the company of men that would turn me in. If I was not with a woman, I would be a beast. I would be a fucking animal. A man cannot be civilized. He can't be anything unless he's with a woman. Now you can't. This guy's talking about getting away and getting your act put together and then going out and getting. The woman is the one who helps you put your act together. You saw that with old friends.
Oh, yeah.
When they got married, they changed their goddamn act, man. This whole shit about the men getting together at the men's club and all that shit. Hey, man, I gotta go home and take care of my family. I love my wife. My wife loves me. She hugs me. She hugs me and I get strong. She looks at me cross and I get weak. Why? I'm scared of her? No, man, it's some kind of magic. This kind of magic was put into us when we were primates. For some goddamn reason, it was bioprogramming, you know? They recognize that. But they don't know what it was or for what reason it was. There's some magic. You could be with a person every day of the goddamn week, a woman. Every day of the week and not think anything, and all of a sudden you saw her one day and you're in love with her. And you don't know fucking why. No, I'm not talking about sexually. I'm talking one day you're just in love with that woman. Boom, man, happened, boom, just like that. So what the hell? You know, I've been seeing her for 2-3 years and this didn't happen to me. Why today? Why did it happen today? Because them chemicals, whatever it was, just crossed to each other. Boom, that was it. Yeah, that was it. And that's some kind of attraction, you know, that man has with woman. And I don't think the woman is fully put together without a man, nor is a man fully put together without a woman. They need each other. They need each other. But man, they got to come together on a different basis than what they're coming together now. They're not coming together now. They're coming apart. They're coming apart. And the man's sitting there, why? What do you mean why? Because it's you. It is. The woman has not changed. All she's done is told the man what she's about. She hasn't changed. She's still a woman. She's still, every 28 days something happens. She still has babies. She's still a woman, man. The only thing is, the difference is she's telling a man what it's been like being with him for so fucking long. You know what I'm saying? You know, before, you know, like, the respect for a woman, what respect? What respect? The man thought it was purely as a sex object. He didn't think of it as something that was important to his life. Without the woman, a man is not a man. It's as simple as that. He's something else. Other cultures have names for them. You know, you're not a man unless you, in almost all cultures, unless you have a wife, you have a woman. You haven't reached that point. It's true in primitive cultures. The rites of passage. The thing is this, is to examine the man. To examine the man in his relationship with the woman. To examine the man, hey, wait a minute, you can't go back and tell me your virtues. Your virtues are there. You're duplicitous by your very nature now. You're going to lie to that woman. So why lie? Just tell her that you're duplicitous, that you're two-faced. There's nothing wrong with the word duplicity. It just means two-facedness, double dealing. Modern people are more than duplicitous, you know. They're infinite plicitous. It's true, isn't it? They just, you know, there are multiple personalities.
Depending on who's in front of them.
Multiple personalities, man, almost to the point of absolute schizophrenia. Where in the fucking world did you find I'm going to go buy me a paper doll that I can call my own? I don't want a paper doll to call my own. I want a woman. A woman with flesh. I don't want that song, I want to go buy me a paper doll. I'm going to go to a dime store and find myself a 10-cent baby. These are all songs, schizophrenic songs of the culture. This didn't start now.
But you're saying that we should come out and admit and be open about our duplicitousness and not try to...
Of our desire to betray, of our inabilities to have friendship. We should say it and accept it. We're incapable of having friendship. We don't want friendship. We have friendship as a word only, but what friend would do what for you? They're friends as long as they can get something. They're friends of this or that.
Fair weather
But
friends.
man, yeah, right. If the trouble happens, you never see them.
Yeah, so true, man.
They never show up.
People I had called friends the last, you know as well as I do, that the last couple of years, the moment trouble shit comes, they're gone, man. They're scooped.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. Friendship is the same kind of friendship that Protagoras had with Achilles. So Protagoras got himself killed to defend the honor of his friend. He knew he was going to get killed, man. But to defend the honor of his apple pie.
So I don't understand,
The pie's still hot there.
the element of being anti-feminist.
The what? The what? Huh?
The element of being anti-feminist. Somewhere I've seen the most outspoken anti-feminist man. It's something really true.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just trying to figure out where the whole, because that's a pretty, kind of antagonistic term, and it doesn't seem like I've heard anything really that anti-feminist.
Oh, anti-feminist? Yeah, I personally, the whole argument of feminism, I don't, it doesn't ring true to me. I'm against the argument itself,
Is it because
I think it's a man-created argument. I don't think it's a female-created argument.
Really?
Yeah. Because I tell you why. Because the arguments that are used are really male arguments just pointed that way. They're not female arguments. They're not female. They're all arguments that men have posted.
Oh, and just put one.
And they
Is that
just change.
appropriated?
Yeah, they're not really female arguments. I'd love to see a female argument, But most of them, the ones that hit the top, the top market, the ones that became known, were all using male arguments. So the whole thing, feminism, I'm a feminist. What the hell is that? Really, what's that mean? I'm a feminist. What does that mean? You mean you're female? What does that mean, you're feminist? What does it mean? That you're in a state of revolution, in a state of... The minute somebody says I'm this, it puts them in another goddamn category as to, as to male, woman, as to man, woman.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were to say, for instance, I'm a feminist, you would say I'm a feminist, and then I would become apprehensive in a say, maybe I don't want to say nothing to offend you, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
To offend your viewpoints, your this and I don't want to be offensive to anybody. I don't think it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, all of a sudden a person holds, because I'm this, they hold a whole categorical area of arguments that go A, B,
Yeah.
C, D, F, G, and they don't let the minute tell itself what it is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You might be with somebody that you feel so female that you feel silly, like a 14-year-old little girl. You feel like a child, like a girl child who just come aware of things, right? And all these arguments, feminism and all that, go out the window.
Yeah.
They do the rational arguments.
I was just
Irrational arguments. They're arguments that are put together to fill books up, It's true.
It was pro-woman.
Yeah,
Anti-feminist.
I knew I was forgetting
Right.
part of it. Yeah.
Because that was the thing that I extracted of it.
Mhm.
It's pro-woman. You're definitely pro-woman.
Yeah, that part is pretty indisputable. Yeah.
Oh man, I come from a nice family. My mother's just dying now. But a beautiful mother, man. Really, my sisters were all in love. We never thought. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you never.
So
I
he's
grew up in
Right.
this. I grew up being happy with woman. You know what I mean? Respecting woman, seeing the worth of woman. I saw the worth of my mother. I saw her taking care of us. I saw this. And I saw then too the position my father had, of how he had to work. And you can't escape the things that you see, man.
Right. The world that you come from, your environment.
Why can't I get along with women? They keep saying, these guys. Why can't I get along with women? Why? Because you want something from them. That's why. You don't want to give nothing in return. You want something. You want to take them and exploit them. You know all these goddamn dirty, these porno books and all that. Who the hell do you think's behind that? Women?
Right.
Who the hell's Hugh Hefner?
Right.
Or that other guy from, what was his name? That guy that
Which guy?
Hustler?
Oh, Flint. Well, you know, in one sense, really these men aren't really exploiting women only, they're also exploiting the men, aren't they? With their pornography.
Mm-hmm.
They're really playing up his weakness
Oh, yeah.
his shapes.
They're taking one of the links in man is his desire to see things. You know, man loves to look, you know. And man dresses up women the way he wants to see them. All these fashion designers, they dress women the way they want to look at women. They dress them up in high heels and silk stockings and these sheer-through clothes and all. That's how they want to see them.
That's right. Yeah, the big designers are all men, aren't they?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
From the advertising.
Photographers.
you know
Or
what?
even the women's
That's
names
something.
are, women's names apply to men? Like,
Mm-hmm.
are they? I always wondered that.
Sometimes. Yeah.
The what, man?
Like on designer things that you see women's names, and you wonder if it was actually men.
I think a lot of times it is actually, man. I believe
Like
it.
Ogilvy was a man.
Oh, yeah, Obi, man.
Excellent.
Oh, there's
pie.
some
Oh,
Isn't that
fuck.
good?
crab apples or something else. Huh?
Excellent pie. Nice tart, man. Really nice tart. Oh,
It has to cool down a little bit.
Grandma's tree in the backyard, huh?
It has to cool down. It's still hot. Those are still hot.
incredible though.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Eat lunch. This is lunch. What is this, lunch or dinner?
Dinner,
I can't remember. Now.
7 o'clock.
Huh?
7 o'clock.
Is that what time it is now?
Dinner.
Apologize for dinner. Delicious. Damn.
You better say you like it. I look for the right tree, man. The ancient Greeks, looking at cyclical history as opposed to linear history, where in comparison, the Hebrew history is linear.
Right.
So you have great historians coming out of there, Josephus or Saturnius, and they're coming out of an area that has linear history, like prophets,
Right.
like the Septuagints, the books, the history books, and all that. So already you have a society that depends on its existence on history, recorded, written history, where the Greek thought everything was cyclical. Like this, it would repeat itself, and even though you got Thucydides and Herodotus, you don't have any more historical schools in Greece. If there was, why didn't they have any students? You know, Herodotus had no students, and he's called he's called in translation, he's called the great liar. Herodotus, yeah, because in Greek, the word fiction is the word for lying. All right, it's fiction. We think of fiction here as a refined make-believe. But to the Greek, everything that's written that's not from some direct experience, autobiographical, is fiction. So in translation, the word comes out pseudes, pseudo. Huh? It's pseudo syngraphes, fiction writing. But pseudma means lie also. So anything the fiction writer would write to the Greek would be lies. Because he dreamt them up. Dreamt them up out of his head.
They said that about Herodotus.
Christianity though puts a stigma on that. In Christianity you can't lie. But nor does Christianity tell you what truth is. They suppose that, the illumination, one truth exists, God is truth, right? And everything that emanates from God is something that you're moving toward truth. So truth is a proper noun or a noun.
And you have to go in search of it.
And you have to go and search for it, just like Parsifal did, the golden chalice and the purity. But now in modern times, you see, truth is moving all the time. It's active. It's a verb. Truth is a verb now. They won't accept it as a verb. Bush is still selling it as a noun.
As a noun, sure, man.
And working at it as a verb. He's selling it as a noun and working with it as a verb. It changes daily, by every morning's news report, yeah. Oh yeah, they play that number on the people, and then they got these assholes over here, these critical thinkers, who are sponsoring this shit, man. They're the worst fucking thing that ever happened to us. The critical thinkers are sponsoring that crap. They're sponsoring that truth is a noun.
Mm.
Yeah, they're found in fragments that you might put together like some big puzzle. You find it here, there, and then like Einstein did, he put it in one big unified field theory. His work is just as imaginative as Uncle Remus's, It is, man. Why the atomic bomb works, not because of what he showed. He gave explanations to certain phenomena that were imaginative phenomena. Like he took the absolute and made it relative. Because it was easier to apply as being relative. The absolute is difficult to demonstrate.
You have the universal.
Yeah, it's absolute. But if it's relative, the theory of relativity, it's easier to explain because things are in relationship to something else and you can develop some equation for it. But the other way, how could you develop an equation of the absolute? I mean, what would you do? Jerry did, didn't he?
Right, he did.
Jerry, man, the great pataphysician, developed an equation for the absolute. See, pataphysics, she's familiar with pataphysics? Pataphysics is the science of imaginary solutions. Believing it is a study, don't laugh at it. It is a study in itself. One of the great fathers of pataphysics is Rabelais. Right? And another great innovator of pataphysics is Jerry. These are great milestones, and there's a lot of, in between there's a lot of littler guys